Hello, welcome back to the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. I'm Darren, I'm your host, and today I've got another great guest. I have Mrs. Nina Skaggs. She is the co-owner and marketing director for Avid Armor vacuum sealing products. I'll be right back with Nina, and we'll talk about all things Avid Armor.
Smoking, grilling, getting hot and hotter, sous vide and chilling from fire and water.
Hey, all, I want to introduce you to a company I just started working with, Fresh Jack's Organic Spices out of Jacksonville, Florida. They're a small, family-run company that's fast-growing. I've tried a bunch of their different seasoning blends and spices, and I can tell you they're all fresh, all organic. None of them contain artificial flavors or sweeteners. None of them have anti-caking agents or preservatives. They all taste like they were just made for you yesterday. Check them out, guys. They're on Amazon in the link below. They have different sample packs, different blends. Like I said, they also have the individual seasonings and spices as well. Fresh Jack's Organic Spices. Check them out, guys. I love them. Welcome back to the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. I am Darren. I am your host, of course. And today I've got a great guest. I have Nina Skaggs. She is a part owner of Avid Armor vacuum sealers. And if you guys follow me on any of my social media and my website and blog, you know that I love Avid Armor products. And I've been wanting to get Nina on for a while now, and she's finally blessed me with her company. So Nina, welcome to the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. Let us know who you are and where you're from.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So as he said, my name is Nina Skaggs, and I am co-owner and director of marketing of Avid Armor. But since we're a small company, you'll also see me wearing many hats. So you'll likely find me in the warehouse packing orders. And if you've ever called Avid Armor, the customer service line, I guarantee that you've spoken with me. So we are actually located in the good old Midwest of Kansas City. We are a direct-to-consumer e-commerce company, and we specialize in food vacuum sealing, vacuum sealer supplies and equipment.
Now, I've been following you guys for a pretty good time. I was turned on to you guys by somebody in one of my Facebook groups had bought, I think, the initial vacuum sealer you guys put on the market, which is the A100, which I still have one, by the way, and use it quite often. And I was kind of playing around with my sous vide and barbecue group, and somebody had said, hey, I found this vacuum sealer, very high quality, works great. And I kind of did some research, and I think I reached out to you and said, hey, I've got this little thing going on. I'd like to test out one of your products because I'm looking for a vacuum sealer that I can recommend to people that I know is going to be, work and not junk, because there's so many on the market right now, especially on Amazon, a lot of the cheaper ones that I hardly ever recommend any of the cheap ones. So I kind of fell in love with your company and what you guys look for and what you do. So, I got the A100 and I really fell in love with it, and I started promoting it. And then since then, you guys have grown substantially. You've carrying more products. So let's talk about the vision of your company. How did you guys start this company? Why did you start this company and all that?
So when we started out, we really wanted to focus on bringing an affordable alternative vacuum sealing products to the home user, but still provide products that were built to last for the avid vacuum sealer, not the occasional user, if you will. So we really want to focus on the foodies, the hunters, the outdoorsmen, barbecue, sous vide enthusiasts, those type of people that were looking for quality products. And then at the same time, we wanted to come across as a small company that really values our customers and a company that stands behind their products.
Now, I know like some of the other companies out there, I'll throw out a couple names. VacMaster for one, that they kind of tend towards, even though some of their stuff can be used in the home, they tend towards lean more towards a commercial user or the restaurants or commercial type packaging places. And then you got on the other end, you got like the Food Saver, Seal a Meal. they focus strictly on the home user, and they kind of pump out products that aren't the highest quality, that aren't really made to last, or they're actually made to, be disposable and have to be replaced every couple of years. So
Right.
so your focus was kind of in between, where you want the people that aren't really commercial type users, but they're heavy home
Exactly.
users. Like I said, I think you guys, when you first came out, you were really hooking up with like the guys who hunted, or,
Yeah.
bought, a whole steer at a time and processed a lot of food for their home. So is that still your focus, or?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, you kind of hit the nail on the head, and, trying to be kind of that tweener. We didn't want to be the entry level bargain vacuum sealer. We didn't want to be the industrial commercial. We really wanted to hit that middle of the road market, that the people that wanted to step up from the inexpensive disposable vacuum sealers, as you called them, to and not the people that weren't ready to go to more of an industrial type commercial sealers. So
Okay. So when you were getting everything ready to market, did you focus on, you started with the bags first, and then you were looking for another product to go with it, or how did you guys start?
Yeah. So whenever we started, we started out with a very limited selection of bags. And at that point, like I mentioned, we were, truly focusing on being a universal vacuum sealer bag to kind of compete in the market with all the other, more of the vacuum sealer bag industry, kind of like the commodity type product, if you will. But at the same time, trying to grow the brand. And then that allowed us to launch into our vacuum sealers. And so that's when we launched the A100. And then over time, that led to launching our chamber vacuum sealers. And then with that, we had to launch the chamber vacuum pouches to go along with the chamber sealers.
So when you guys first started, I mean, how were you guys received out there? How did you start? I mean, did you initially just sell on your own website? Were you hooked up with Amazon early on? We're going to get into how Amazon affected your business down the road, but when you first started with the bags, especially, what was your first, how did you market that, and how did it help grow your business?
So when we first started, we launched a website at the same time as Amazon, but we all know, like, when you put a website out there, it doesn't necessarily mean everybody's going to come to it. So that was obviously a little bit more slow going. So our real focus was Amazon. We launched on Amazon. We started with their FBA program and Fulfilled by Amazon, and just hit it hard with the advertising and marketing. And again, at that time, I think we were doing that kind of low cost leader mentality in the get-go to try to get that recognition out there and be kind of the leader in again, it all started with just the bag. So that was our focus. And then it's almost like we kind of had a little bit of brand recognition from our bags. And so I think that might have made it a little bit easier to launch the vacuum sealers.
So you started just by trying to get the brand name out there, so people would think about, put two and two together. If I'm looking for vacuum sealer bags, I'm looking at Avid Armor because I bought some, even though you maybe did the lost leader at first, but the quality of the bag was still superior than what they've ordered before. Because I know there's many different bags on Amazon, and some of them they're junk, some of them are decent. So you got to kind of feel out which ones you want. So even though there's a lot of different things on Amazon for sure. And if you initially start out with, maybe the price leader kind of thing, if they start buying your product, find that the quality is good, you can start ratcheting up the price a little bit because people are willing to pay for quality. I know I am. Everybody initially wants to save money, but if I don't want to save money to, buy crappy quality either. So.
Right. Exactly. Well, and I think that has become even more of a challenge just in the recent years. And I don't know if you've noticed, but it's almost like we've had some success with the, in the bag and roll market, but there's more competitors. Amazon allows the manufacturers, if you will, to the manufacturers overseas in like China, for example, to just dump their products into Amazon. And so, they've, it's made for a difficult market on Amazon to try to compete with them now, just dumping products into Amazon. And that is our focus too, is for people to understand that, that we are a US based company. We're, small. We're not, you're going to get that customer service. And we're not just someone dumping products into Amazon just to sell them. We are a company and we, value our customers. So that's been important to us.
All the time I told you I have my own little Facebook group too now about vacuum sealers. And I get people all the time that will ask me about the DZ 260s, that are dumped on Amazon for $300-$400.
Right.
And I tell them, they're cheap Chinese junk. They're put on there by the manufacturer.
Yep.
You're not going to get any service when it breaks. The 1 year warranty that they say it comes with, most likely you're not going to be able to get it replaced or fixed, because you'll never have a way to get a hold of them. Maybe if it breaks within the first 30 days, you can send it back to Amazon through Amazon's program. But,
right.
Usually when they're dumping products like that, you got to deal with what you're dealing with. And it's not just vacuum sealers. It's also, sous vide circulators. I mean, since I deal with a lot of sous vide and circulating and, circulators and stuff, people ask me, hey, what about this one? It's only $30. Yeah, it's $30 because that company's not going to back it. It's some company out of China that makes them for everybody, and they stick them on there for $30 so they can dump them. But you're not, if it breaks and, you're not going to be able to get it fixed, and, it's not going to last too long.
No, for sure. And that's another reason why they are the $30 too, is they don't have that overhead that we do as a US company, warehousing and offices and employees and staff. And so that's, another reason why that they can get away with doing that kind of stuff. But
so how has the business focus changed since you guys started up with just the bags?
So like I mentioned, we started out with just a very limited selection of bags. And then, kind of one by one, we've launched the different sealers. Our most notable success recently has been the launch of our USV 32 chamber vacuum sealer. And I believe it was truly the first vacuum sealer of its kind, of a chamber vacuum sealer that was really geared to the home kitchen user. There are so many vacuum sealers available on the market, but I really feel like we captured a market that they wanted to upgrade from their inexpensive disposable vacuum sealer, but they, one, weren't ready to spend the money on the commercial chamber vacuum sealers that were on the market. And two, they didn't want to have them sitting on their kitchen counters, because what has been available out there has been very industrial, commercial looking,
heavy.
And heavy. You can't lift them. And so I really feel like we hit the nail on the head with this one. It's beautiful to, to sit on the countertop. It's stainless steel, small enough. You still get that technology that so many people wanted and desired, and at a price point that people could afford. So that's, that was our, and then we launched the USV 20, which is technically the USV 32's little brother, as I like to say. It's basically the same unit. It's got a lot of the same internals, same pump, but it's in a smaller footprint. So even smaller. So the people that have a really small kitchen that don't have room to put vacuum sealers on their counter. And then it also has, which has been a huge feature that a lot of people actually will only buy the USV 20 because it has the accessory port. So if someone is upgrading from one of the like cheaper suction sealers, a lot of them have that accessory port where you can vacuum seal canisters. That has been a huge selling point for the USV 20.
Yeah, I think that's a good step from the the food saver people.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
they like to have that accessory port.
Mm-hmm.
The USV 32 doesn't have it, but
Right.
To go to the 20, which it's a little bit smaller, which if somebody's using a food saver, it's about the perfect size for them anyway. And they still have that, accessory port that they can use for their canisters and stuff. And I think it was, it's a pretty good idea you don't need to have a full sized chamber sealer. A lot of people don't. I do because I use it for, but a lot of people, if they're stepping up from a food saver type, that area, it's pretty easy for them to go to the 20 with that size and all that, and the accessory port. And really, I've looked at some of the other smaller chamber sealers. Like you said, you guys are probably one of the first ones that came out with the countertop ones, and even the other ones that have came after are not as good quality. I when I first, I was bugging you, I think early on, so when you guys going to come out with a chamber sealer? Because
I remember.
Yeah. And you said, well, we're coming. And when you did, I know you put a lot into it, because when you came out with it, it was everything that I was looking for, and that I knew people that were using it for sous vide and home use were looking for. Cause I had a VP 210 that sat on my counter. And I actually, one of the first videos I did with your USV 32 was comparing the VP 210 with the USV 32, and the the VP 210 is 90 pounds, and it takes up, a huge part of your counter. And it really, it's more industrial powered. But for somebody that's a home user, they don't need all that power and to have all that weight sitting on your counter, and you can't move it. It really was ridiculous. And so it really fit the bill. And I think, and I've suggested, every time I suggest a chamber sealer, I suggest the USV 32 from now on. So unless they're looking for industrial use. So.
Right. No, exactly.
So once you guys how much did your business grow once you came out with that chamber sealer and started marketing that? Did it quadruple? Did it double? Did it increase substantially or little?
Yeah, it did. It did, because our focus was so much on the bags business that it kind of really brought in a whole new category to our business. So I would definitely say it probably doubled from the introduction of the chamber vacuum sealers. Yeah.
So now you're selling more bags, because now you're offering the chamber sealer bags, and now the chamber sealers on top of it. So I guess the USV 32 was very successful, and you decided, well, let's go with the 20 because it offers something that the USV 32. How successful has the 20 been since you released that?
Actually, they are very even
really?
As far as the 20 has been very popular as far as the price point, I think. So it even reaches another market, even in addition to the USV 32. So we actually, they're pretty even as far as the amount that we sell, but I don't feel like it really, because the USV 32 already kind of made a name for itself whenever we launched the USV 20. It didn't really take much to get it out there, if that makes sense. It just gave people another option. And it was very successful from the get-go.
Yeah. So you don't think it took any business away from the 32? It kind of just created its own little niche.
No. And it could have also been the timing that we did it. It launched, I'm trying to think. It was like October of 19. So we were going right into the holiday selling season. People were looking for vacuum sealers. And then shortly after that, COVID hit, and that's a whole nother ball game. So it could have been the timing. But yeah, very successful. And I don't think it took away, because that's the thing is with the USV 32, it was new to the market, but it was still a little bit at a price point that was still out of people's, range for wanting to pay for a vacuum sealer. So, but then the people that want the USV 20, they're more shopping based on a price point. They want the technology, but they're shopping on a price point. I would say the number one reason, if someone were to return the USV 20, it's to get the USV 32, because it's a little bit too small for them. That's our number one reason that we get returns on the 20, is they just think it's a little bit too small. And so they upgrade to the 32. So. Yeah,
and I can see that. But like I said, I think the 20 hits that market for the people that are stepping up from, the food saver, and they want to get start with a chamber sealer. They can get the 20, and it still meets the needs that they had with the food saver, but they got the benefits of having the chamber sealer. So definitely. So we kind of hit on COVID. You said, you kind of hit on that. How has that changed your business? Have you seen an increase? Have you seen a different kind of demand? Have you, I know that on the supply side, I'm sure you've had some issues as well, because everybody has. So how has it affected you guys?
Yeah. So it's definitely been a year of growth for us, which is obviously different than a lot of markets out there, with businesses closing down and whatnot. So we're very blessed actually for COVID. I like to tell people that that vacuum sealer rolls and bags were kind of the silent toilet paper shortage. So many people were buying bags and rolls and vacuum bags and rolls like in bulk, just hoarding them, it seemed like. And with manufacturing halted and demand was way up. So across the industry, inventory was sold out for a little while, which was kind of crazy. But then I think it really helped the overall industry. I think it really changed a lot of people's mindset as far as food storage and how they go about their way of life with food. For so long, vacuum sealing has been kind of an older generation thing. My grandma had a vacuum sealer. So it's been really cool to see all these people changing their ways and buying vacuum sealer. We had people calling us wanting to buy a chamber vacuum sealer and asking questions about it. They never owned a vacuum sealer in their life, but they were going to buy one, and they were going to go straight to a chamber vacuum sealer. So it was crazy, but it was very good.
Yeah, for something that's been around for quite a long time, and I've seen it too. I mean, even personally, I really didn't use vacuum sealers much at all back before I started cooking sous vide. So to see it now where people are, I use it more for a lot more things than I ever thought I would, and I think the resurgence, and I think it does have to do with the popularity of sous vide cooking. A lot of people are getting them because, they want to use it for sous vide, but then they discover, like I did, well, I can use it for a whole lot more different things than just cooking sous vide. And once you discover that, and now it seems like the whole industry is catching on, and they're coming out with more products and companies like yours that are hitting that market to where, it was kind of left empty before. Like I said, you had that big gulf between the industrial strength ones and the consumer ones. Was just there was nothing really in between. If you wanted a really high quality home use unit, there was really far between. You couldn't find much out there. So I think the whole industry is growing. And I know COVID is kind of, like you said, I mean, it's like the toilet paper, because people are finding that they use it for a lot more than they thought they would. And they're getting that food storage thing in their brain, go, hey, I don't want to have to run out of meat because I went to Walmart and there's no meat on the shelf. So they're buying up stuff at Costco and buying a big freezer and filling it up. So I think the whole overall mentality on vacuum sealing has changed. And I think you guys started your business right at about the right time, because now you're taking some of the benefits from it. One of the things I really like about you guys is everything you seem to put out is well thought out, it's not junk. It's even though you did release a new the cheaper food saver type sealer, and because I think you guys, did you think that you needed to put something in the budget category to fill that need there? Yeah, and
it's not going to be the sealer that we make our millions off of or anything. It was just to hit another area in the market to try to capitalize and give other options because actually we get a lot of phone calls and people asking like, well, with a chamber sealer, I'm really limited to, the size that I can do. And what if I want to do a loaf of bread or a big long, rack of ribs that they can't do in a chamber sealer? And that's why I always tell people, well, if you have an old food saver, keep it around for whenever you have those odd items that you want to vacuum seal. But so it basically gave us another little sealer to say, hey, you can have that USV 20. And while it might be small, you're going to get to be able to do all those things. But those one-off items, use the inexpensive vacuum sealer. And you kind of get the best of both worlds.
So I'm pulling up your website now, and just so that people can see the products that you do offer. And I really like the way it's changed over the years. Now you've got the USV 20 up there. And do you do your own videos? Do you have a company that does the videos for you? Or
yeah, well, as I said, we're growing. We actually in the past we had outside companies do our videos, but we actually recently hired some more help in the marketing department. So we have in-house photographer and videographer. So we're excited to be able to expand that way as well.
So I'm pulling up your vacuum sealers, and here's your lineup you got now. You got the AVS 7900. So that's your entry level, let's just say. So that is for somebody that's just looking for a quality, cheaper overall sealer. The A100 was the first product that you put out there, and that's the one I love and have, that's geared more towards somebody that is more of a heavy user. So when you first launched that particular product, you were kind of aimed more at like the hunter and stuff like that, correct?
More the hunter foodie, again, somebody that wants an upgrade from the inexpensive entry level models. Buys in bulk. We have a lot of hunters that process their own game, that use that machine through and through. So it's been a good machine.
It takes a beating. I think I've had mine almost over 2 years now, and I don't think I've had to change a seal or a gasket or even the tape on the seal bar.
Oh, good.
So it's I put it to use. So it's a very strong pump on it and everything as well. So so then you got the USV 20 that just was recently launched, and that's also a good little machine. I have that as my backup chamber sealer right now. So it when I just need something smaller, or I want to use the accessory port, that's the one I go to. And then the USV 32. So that's what you offer right now. Are you looking to offer anything else? Or, is there something in your portfolio here that you think that you can squeeze something else in?
Well, I'm glad you asked. We actually are going to be launching another suction vacuum sealer here in the coming weeks, which we're really excited about. And then hopefully, we're always looking to expand the line. So hopefully we'll be able to offer more chamber sealers in the future as well.
Hey, all, it's Darren, and I want to take a second to talk to you about the high-powered torches. from Grill Blazer, the grill gun, and sous vide gun. I was lucky enough to be a part of this project long before it was a Kickstarter, and I love them. If you're looking for something to sear your food within seconds, check out the sous vide gun. If you're looking for a torch to light your grill and have it up and cooking within 5 minutes, your lump or briquettes, check out the grill gun. It can also light outdoor fire pits and your fireplace within minutes. Check it out, guys, at the link below and get 10% off your order. Check out the grill gun and the sous vide gun by Grill Blazer. Now, is the Magic Vac the one you're talking about now? Or
no, actually, Magic Vac is a completely separate thing. So we do have another Avid Armor, I should say, vacuum sealer launching in a couple weeks. And then Magic Vac, it's up there on the website. And we just recently partnered with them. They are a very well-known Italian company that's been making vacuum sealers for 50 plus years. We really had a push for people wanting products, as you mentioned earlier, made in the US. There really isn't options out there for manufacturers. So we thought of this as a perfect opportunity to partner with them. Their brand aligns well with us. And so that gives customers another option if they want products made in outside of China, essentially.
Now, are you their only distributor here in the U.S.?
So we're exclusive to the U.S. They have a wide range of vacuum sealers. We started out with just one, which is their Maxima 2. And then we also had a few bag and roll sizes, and then a number of their accessories, which is really cool because that's been another product that's been kind of hard to come by lately through COVID and all that. So we have canisters from them. We have a marinating container, wine bottle stoppers, these universal lid jars. And all the cool thing about all these is they're all going to be like universally compatible with all of our vacuum sealers, and then a number of other brand vacuum sealers too. So
yeah, I know that was an issue. We initially came out with the canisters when you came out with the A100, and I guess there was issues with quality control on those, and you got rid of them. So, I mean, and then I've had that issue with other companies too that have had those type of things, and they just don't seem to make those as well because I guess because they sell them cheap and they make them cheap, and they don't really put a lot of emphasis on the quality control on that. What is the big selling point of the Magic Vac different than, let's say, the Avid Armor branded channel vacuum sealers, suction sealers?
Well, they're very similar. So the technology is going to be the same, but they do have a long-standing history of making vacuum sealing equipment. Their parent company, they actually started making vacuum pumps in the healthcare industry. And then they got into the vacuum sealers, and they're actually they are the original manufacturer of another very well-known brand. They were the original makers of them. So they've been around for a very long time. Again, like I said, the technology is the same, but it is a very high quality vacuum sealer, and it's made in Italy. So that for some people will be a selling point in and of itself.
Gotcha. Now, is their brand of their bags? Are they made out of any kind of different material, or are they a different manufacturing process or something like that?
Yeah, no, the material is very similar, except for the design or the embossment, the texture that's required for suction vacuum sealers is different. They have a patented ribbed design, so it's a lined material. But those are also would be universal with, you can use those on any brand vacuum sealer. Yep.
Cool. Now, I've seen recently, not you guys, but another company came out with a Get rid of this real quick. A biodegradable vacuum sealer bag, which most vacuum sealer bags anyway are recyclable, correct? They can put them in a recycling bin.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it varies depending on your local recycling plate, like what kind of plastics that they recycle. Ours are considered, in the other category. So it just depends if your local recycling authority accepts that kind. So, but they're reusable also. So you can get several uses out of them also, which helps too.
Yeah, I find it hard reusing vacuum sealer bags though, and I really don't like the silicone ones that the reusable silicone bags on Amazon don't really work out really well for sous vide cooking and storage, especially.
Right.
So, so have you looked at maybe offering any other different kinds of bags or anything like that, or silicone type bags that you could use with the vacuum sealers?
Yeah, we have. It's just not, again, we were close to possibly doing a silicone bag. But then when you look at the market and what's available on Amazon, and like we talked about, so many people just dumping, manufacturers dumping them on there really didn't really make sense for us.
Right.
So, and then as far as bags, that it's just the amount of inventory that we have to carry, so there's a lot of different bags and bag styles, zipper bags, colored bags, black bags, foil bag, there's so many different, and we have the opportunity, but it's just, where do you stop? So
that leads me to it.
Yeah.
You're trying to keep it where it makes sense for you. It's profitable. You're not storing a bunch of stuff that's not going to sell. So that leads me to another question, because I get this question a lot too in my vacuum sealer group on Facebook. Is it seems to be there's more people doing using the Mylar bags and the retort bags. So then that's something that's more specialized. Now, have you guys even looked at that? I know that usually, I don't think the USV 32 is actually able to use the Mylar or the retorts, are they?
Yes, both the USV 20, actually all of our, both of our chamber bags can do the Mylar retort bags. They have the seal time setting can go all the way up to a 9. So that's where you're going to need the higher seal time setting, because like our standard bags, the seal time setting would be like at a 3 or 4. So there's a lot of extra time that is available on the sealer to seal those thicker bags. But yes, we've had customers doing retort bags and Mylar bags with no problem. Now, the A100 can also do those. You just have to make sure that they're the textured embossed kind for a suction vacuum sealer. Yeah.
Now, does that have more of an abuse on the seal bar though? I mean, if I'm doing retort bags a lot.
Yeah, it could. Yeah. So your seal bar is going to be heating up hotter and then cooling hotter and cooler. So yeah, it'll probably shorten the lifespan of it, but we always sell replacement parts.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know, because I get that question all the time. And I know some of the commercial type chamber vacuums, they actually sell specialized seal bars for that. If somebody's using it on a regular basis, if they're strictly using it for retort bags, especially because of their thick aluminum, that they actually sell a specialized seal bar for that. So I always kind of try to tell people no, because I don't want them to use it and it doesn't work, and then they come back to me and go, "Hey, you said I could use it, and I blew up my machine."
No, yeah, they will work.
Well, that's good to know. So have you thought about maybe carrying some of that stuff, or is it something where you don't know if the demand or the market's there for it?
Yeah. It's just a matter of buying and the inventory, and then obviously the sell-through. So, yeah.
I was just surprised as many questions I get on that, because it seems more people are trying to do it for.
We get the question all the time too. So you're not alone.
Yeah. Good. So what's in the future for Avid Armor? I mean, I know you're going to continue to market what you have now, but what do you think you guys are going to be doing down the road here?
Yeah. So we're we're always looking to grow. So our goal is to continually to launch new vacuum sealers. That's kind of our niche. That's where we want to, we want to be that brand authority in vacuum sealers. So only adding to that lineup will help. And then, and obviously maybe possibly more bags and rolls and accessories. We may venture out into some new categories, some home categories, home appliances. That's still to be determined, but our main goal is to always stay true to our roots and maintaining that small business mentality.
So as of right now, what percentage of your business is Amazon compared to direct? Is it a good portion?
Yeah. I don't have the,
I don't need the exact. I mean, is it like 2/3 of your business or?
Oh, it's probably more. I would say it's about 85%. Yeah.
Really? Now, do you feel you get people that will buy on Amazon and then come direct to you guys after they try you out? Is it more of a?
Yeah. Yep. And other companies, because we sell on Walmart also. So we get a lot of customers that, will find us through Amazon or Walmart and then end up going to our website. But we've also seen a lot recently of, the people that don't want to shop on Amazon and they would rather shop, locally or, for the small company and go direct to their website. So that's been cool. So we've seen an increase in direct website sales as well.
Well, yeah, I would think that would actually take away some of, they don't see all the white noise of the competition on Amazon. If they found something on Amazon of your product, liked your company, and then all of a sudden they're going to your website, it takes away, they don't have to see that other competitors, vacuum sealer or bags every time they go on there looking for yours. So
right. Yeah.
Now, do you think that Amazon's going to be a big player in the future for you guys? Is it always going to be your main source?
Absolutely. Yeah. We don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. It's just us keeping up with Amazon, if that makes sense. It's not easy as much as people want to think you can just, as we've said, dump product on Amazon and sell it. It's not that easy. So, but
you got to coordinate all the, making sure the warehouses have it or ship it out of your warehouse. Cause I know a lot of times you ship directly from your warehouse, even though they ordered it through Amazon, right?
Correct. Well, yeah. So we do both programs. So there's what's FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon. And then there's FBM, which is fulfilled by merchant. So pretty much all of our bags are what is considered FBA, where we actually ship our inventory from our warehouse to Amazon and then Amazon fulfills it. Whereas our vacuum sealers, we keep more of those FBM, fulfilled by merchant, where we ship them directly to us, because we actually do on our chamber vacuum sealers, we test every sealer before it goes out, because we want to make sure that it's delivered to the customer in working condition. That's the last thing we want someone to get is a, machine that isn't working when they just paid $600 for it. So that's important to our process and meeting the customer satisfaction.
Well, that's something good to know, because a lot of companies don't do that. I know VacMaster doesn't.
If you've ever, I don't know, probably in the last year or so, purchased one of our chamber sealers, we vacuum seal a little squishy avocado.
The avocado.
Yeah, you probably heard about it. Yeah. So we've vacuum seal a little squishy avocado and, just to show them that it's been tested and it worked. And yeah.
Well, that's good to know. Definitely. So there was another question I wanted to ask you, and it kind of fell out of my head. But well.
The only thing that was kind of on that list was the difference between the bags, the channel bag.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk about that, but
yeah, I mean, there is a difference between the channel vacs and the chamber vacs, and I think that's one of the things that the people that are new to vacuum sealing, how many of those questions you get on the phone line every day? Because I know I get that all the time. So, and it's, trying to explain how a better vacuum can be pulled in a chamber than when you're trying to suck it out of the bag.
Yeah.
It's kind of,
well, we don't necessarily get a lot of questions of what's the difference. We get more questions of, trying to explain chamber technology, because it's completely different than the suction vacuum sealer. And a lot of people will jump into a chamber vacuum sealer thinking it's the same as their other brand vacuum sealer, and it's not. So that's kind of the area that we have to educate people a lot. So
yeah, I know a lot of the questions I get is, why do I have to have a different bag for, this one or that one? And that kind of leads into the different technologies and why one is different and better or better or the same as the other. So it's you're always going to have that, but there's a lot of people out there that don't understand the difference and just go, well, it doesn't matter, you can have one or the other. Well, to some people it matters more than others, but it depends on what you're doing with it as well. So not everybody needs a chamber vacuum sealer. Like you said, it goes to the fact where, what are you using it for? How often are you using it? The bag savings is different. Of course, the chamber sealer bags are a lot cheaper than the embossed bags, just because it takes out a process of embossing the bag. So
exactly. And that's what I think, that's the part that people don't, and we get that a lot too, where people will buy chamber bags when they have a suction sealer, just because they say, oh my gosh, I can get that many bags for, the same price. And people don't understand that there truly is a difference in the bags. Whereas I actually have some samples. So a chamber vacuum pouch is smooth on both sides, because you're in a chamber vacuum sealer, you're removing the air from the entire chamber. You're not sucking the air directly out of the bag. Whereas in a regular suction vacuum sealer, no matter what brand that you have, the technology is the same in all of them. The sealer sucks the air directly out of the bag. So the bag has to have a texture or embossment or channels. There's a lot of different terms that are used for it, but that texture acts as a highway for the air to be sucked out of the sealer. And so if you don't have that texture, then you're not going to get the vacuum on a regular suction vacuum sealer. So if you have to have that. But the good thing is, no matter what the texture is or the embossment, it's pretty a universal technology across all those suction vacuum sealers. So for example, our bag will work with any brand of suction vacuum sealer, and you can't use a chamber vacuum sealer bag on a suction vacuum sealer because it doesn't have that embossment. But a chamber vacuum sealer, you can use this bag in a chamber vacuum sealer. But it's not necessary. It's not needed. So
yeah, and since they're more expensive, it doesn't make financial sense to do it. But if you have a whole box of ones from your food saver, you can definitely use them. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's one of the questions I get a lot of the times as well. So it's just something that you got to explain. It pulls a vacuum inside the chamber and lowers the actual pressure. So that's why one of the first things people do when they get a chamber sealer is put water in a bag and watch it boil.
And it's like, I always tell people, it's like a science project.
Yep. And they don't understand that until they start playing around and go, wow, the water's boiling. Why is it boiling over? Because you got you're pulling too much of a vacuum when you got to, I always have to explain to people, you either have to chill it first or use a lot shorter vacuum time when you're doing soups or,
Yeah. And some of that is normal because since you're removing that atmospheric pressure in the chamber, you're lowering that boiling point. So that's why you'll get that. But that is a good sign. If you're not getting that boiling, then that means you're not pulling a full vacuum too. So it's kind of also like a signal that, okay, I'm getting a really good vacuum if my stuff starts to boil, but it's not cooking it. It's not a cooking boil. So make sure that,
what happens though, a lot of times is they forget to adjust their sealing times. Mm-hmm. So I ran into this on the USV32 is if I had it set at 60 seconds, vacuum time, and I forget to change it when I put something in there that's super, super wet, it'll just come all out, because it starts to boil and it'll boil out of the bag. Right. So you got to remember to adjust your vacuum time.
Yeah.
And one of the things I really like about, both the your A100 and the chamber sealers is you can adjust the seal time and the vacuum times on them. So it's really very convenient to be able to change that up. And once you figure it out and know when you got to do it, when you don't, that's another question I wanted to ask you about products, especially bags, because you don't carry different thicknesses of the bags. You carry strictly 3 mil thick bags. Have you thought of maybe carrying 4 mil or 5 mil bags, or is it kind of like the Mylar stuff where if there's more of a demand, you might, if it's going to.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. There's so many different bags and so many different options, and it's just kind of a demand thing.
Now, since you handle mostly home users, right? So you don't probably get too much of a demand for a 4 or 5 mil bag, because that's more on the commercial side.
Yeah. And we do have quite a bit of commercial business, but we actually haven't had a lot of requests for thicker bags. We've had more requests for different bag types, like zipper bags or the expandable bags. So those are. Now
I can say I do use the expandable bags. So if you can carry something, the expandable bags is something that, especially for what I do, because I mix sous vide and barbecue. So if I'm doing a whole brisket, because I do that a lot with sous vide or a full pork butt, it's really hard to fit it in a standard vacuum bag. I usually have to buy the expandable bags that have the pleats in them. So bigger roasts and, full chicken, stuff like that. So I could see and there's not too many competitors in that market. So, I mean, I could see that, being a thing for you guys.
Hot item. Yeah. But, we always welcome feedback as far as, product ideas and stuff. So
there's just a need, I think, for a good quality expandable bag out there, because there are some out there, but they're either super, super expensive or they're just, the quality's just not there. So I think it would be a good.
And I think the technology is a little bit tough on those too, because you also have to have a sealer because the way that they have that double, the way that they fold, you have to have a sealer that will be able to penetrate like 4 layers of bag to make that seal. So that's kind of hard too.
A100 works great on it. I'd use it all the time for them. So.
Oh, good.
Well, Nina, I want to thank you for being on. I really appreciate it. I've been wanting to have you on for a long time, and really love your products. And hopefully we'll be doing business, in the future for a long time. It seems like you guys are growing. You got the right stuff going on for sure. And I really love watching you guys grow and offer new products, because I know every time you come out with something new, you've tested it out and you've made sure it's something that's going to be viable and it's going to last a while. And then I have no problems if I have an issue calling you guys up and contacting you.
Absolutely.
That's a big thing to a lot of people, like you said, you can't buy that cheap stuff on Amazon knowing that it's a Chinese company just dumping it there, because they're not going to be able to service you.
Right. And that's one thing that I didn't mention is we do service all of our repairs and everything right in-house. We have our technicians that are working on those. So everything is done in-house. So
I could send it back to you and you could fix it up. No problem.
Absolutely.
How often do you have something come back to you that needs repair? Is it more like the pumps or?
It's different on each sealer. Occasionally on the chamber sealers, the pumps, But it's usually like, it almost happens like right away, if that, and usually we end up just replacing the sealer. So, and on the A100, it's usually, internal stuff that people, that's a hard thing. And sometimes it happens because of user use, if that makes sense. So on like a suction vacuum sealer, if you're sucking up a lot of liquids that we can't control, then that will, over time, that's gonna do a lot of damage to the internal components. So it's occasionally we can send out the parts to the customer and they can replace it themselves or fix it themselves. Otherwise we have them send it back in and we repair it in-house.
I definitely want to thank you for being on. I really appreciate Avid Armor and all you guys do. And I'm really, like I said, I really love watching you guys grow. And I always suggest your products to everybody that I talk to that's looking for a vacuum sealer for sure. So thanks again. And
we truly appreciate it.
Hopefully you guys continue to grow and offer more products. And
all right.
Anything I can do to help you guys, just let me know.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thanks for being on, and tell David we said happy vacation.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. I want to thank Nina Skaggs from Avid Armor for being on. I want to make sure you guys follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Make sure you follow the Fire and Water Cooking YouTube channel and the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. I will see you again on the next Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. Thanks, guys.